G'day, it's fugitive Australian journalist Shane Dowling from the website and YouTube channel Kangaroo Court of Australia. Now, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese has done a dirty deal with Rupert Murdoch and Lachlan Murdoch to screw over Google and Facebook and TikTok and X, or formerly known as Twitter, which they're calling a social media ban for children under 16. But what it really is Murdoch trying to control the situation for his own financial benefit, and Anthony Albanese jumped on board. The experts are saying it won't work. So if it's not going to work, why are they doing it? Well, Rupert Murdoch and Lachlan Murdoch are driving it for their own financial benefit. I wrote about it last year, but it's worth reporting on again because obviously it's going to come into effect in December. And later this afternoon, the government's going to announce the details of exactly how it works. But the problem is it won't work. Well, that's what the experts are saying at least, and I agree with them. I'll just give you one example. Channel 9 on A Current Affair on Monday night had the father of a child who committed suicide, his son. And he said his son accessed YouTube, did a search on it, on how to commit suicide. And the father said, well, if he hadn't been able to do that, maybe he wouldn't have committed suicide. But you can search on the internet on 1,000 different sites on how to commit suicide, Google, other search engines. So to suggest it was YouTube's fault, well, it doesn't add up, and Channel 9 and A Current Affair should be hugely embarrassed. So not blaming the father, he's searching for answers. His son committed suicide, so he's not looking at it the right way. But Channel 9 and A Current Affair just used him to drive an issue, and I'm sure they want the online media giants controlled as well because they're losing advertising revenue to them. And now I'll read you out some of the latest reporting, make a few comments, and I'll read you out a little bit of the article I published last year, which really drives home it's the Murdochs driving it. And when Prime Minister Anthony Albanese announced the media ban, social media ban for children under 16 last year, he thanked the Murdochs. The fact that he thanked the Murdochs says they're the ones driving it. Now, the Sydney Morning Herald reported today, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese said restricting YouTube from use by children under 16 meant his government stood on the side of Australian families. Well, that's a lie because the Murdochs are driving it. He's standing on the side of the Murdochs. He said social media has a social responsibility, and there is no doubt that Australian kids are being negatively impacted by online platforms. So I'm calling time on it, he said in a statement. Well, probably the worst media for spreading lies, misinformation, hate is News Corp. What's Prime Minister Anthony Albanese doing about that? Nothing. The article goes on to say, social media is doing social harm to our children, and I want Australian parents to know that we have their backs. Well, he doesn't have their backs in relation to News Corp spreading lies and hate and propaganda on behalf of anyone and everyone who helps Rupert Murdoch make a profit. Now, a few days ago, the Sydney Morning Herald reported the letter flagged. Well, Google sent the government a letter saying they're going to institute legal proceedings if they block YouTube as well. YouTube wasn't originally meant to be on the banned list of banned sites, but the government said they were thinking about adding YouTube. And they said they're going to think about it over the next few weeks, but within 24 hours, they've announced YouTube are on the list. So the government doesn't know what they're doing. They're just reacting to what's ever happening on that day instead of planning. And the Sydney Morning Herald reported the letter flagged the ban could be challenged because it restricted the implied constitutional right to freedom of political communication. YouTube is a video sharing platform, not a social media service, that offers benefit and value to younger Australians, a YouTube spokesperson said. Now, the ban's meant to start in December. The government's meant to announce today how it's going to work. Well, if they're going to ban children under 16, that means they're going to have to prove their age. And if they're going to have to prove their age, that means everyone's going to have to prove their age. So I think it's going to upset a lot of people. And the government haven't thought it through too well. They're just jumping to Murdoch's tune. The Murdochs say jump and the government says how high. Now, the banned sites are TikTok, Snapchat, Reddit, Instagram, Facebook, and X, formerly Twitter. And look, what we learned today is YouTube is also on the list now. Now, I published an article last year, and I'll just read you out part of that article. It's titled Rupert Murdoch's News Corp set to make millions from Labor's social media ban for kids. And I published it on the 17th of November 2024. And it starts off, Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and the Labor Party have done a dirty deal with Rupert Murdoch's News Corp to attack social media via a social media ban for kids, which is obvious if you dig just a little bit below the surface. One example is a kids' news website which is targeted to years 3 to 12 and owned by Murdoch's News Corp, which would stand to profit greatly if children were banned from spending time on its direct competitors' websites, which are the social media giants. This is happening at a time when the Labor Party is also attacking free speech and political communication like there is no tomorrow by the new misinformation laws, which they eventually pulled because they're obviously going to not pass Parliament. The article goes on to say, Rupert Murdoch and Lachlan Murdoch's Trojan horse. The Kids News website is really Rupert Murdoch and Lachlan Murdoch's Trojan horse to attack the social media giants that have crippled Murdoch's papers over the last 20 years. The reason we know this is because Anthony Albanese thanked News Corp when he announced the plan to ban children from social media. The Kids News website, owned by Murdoch's News Corp, reported on the 7th of November 2024, Mr Albanese paid tribute to News Corp Australia, publisher of Kids News, for its Let Them Be Kids campaign, highlighting the community concern around children's access to social media and the negative impacts on their mental and physical health. Well, what the Murdochs were clearly worried about is their financial health. They could not care less about children. And the article goes on to say, it says on the About page on the Kid News website, Kid News is a free, news-based literacy tool for classrooms. Register your email now to use kidnews.com.au and sign up for the Kid News newsletter. Now, I won't read it all out to you, but if you go on, it says, it gives you the details. Number 2, what information do we collect? Well, I collect all the personal information, registration information, for example, your name, delivery and postal address, email address, gender, birthday. And it says under Section 3, how do we use your information? For other marketing and client relationship purposes is one of the ways they use it. So school children in grades 3 to 12 are signing privacy agreements with Rupert Murdoch's News Corp. Why isn't the government highlighting that? I think a lot of parents would be very worried if they knew that. Now, this is going to drag out for a long time. I think it's going to be a massive story, a massive issue, especially over the next couple of years, because come December, we're probably all going to have to prove our age to use social media of some sort. Now, the government is jumping up and down to keep Rupert Murdoch and Lachlan Murdoch happy. They're attacking the social media giants online. There's 1,000 sites on the internet that the parents should be worried about more than the social media giants. They've tried it overseas. It hasn't worked. So why is it going to work here? The only reason the government's trialling it here is because Rupert Murdoch and Lachlan Murdoch drove it to try and undermine their competitors for advertising dollars. That's what this is all about. Rupert Murdoch and Lachlan Murdoch making more money. If the social media giants are restricted from advertising to children, well, the Murdochs will fill that gap with their Kids News site. Now, I'll have an article up on my website, Kangaroo Court of Australia, on Thursday, 31st of July 2025. Like I said before, they're meant to announce the details, exactly how it will work this afternoon, so I'll have that in the article there tomorrow. And I'll put a link to that previous video I did last year. It's got a lot more information. Put a link to that below this video on YouTube. And please do your bit and help shine a light on corruption and share this video on social media. And Kangaroo Court of Australia is independent media. I publish a website and a YouTube channel. And I'm 100% crowdfunded from viewers like yourself, so please make a donation via PayPal or Patreon. And I'll put a link to the Patreon account and PayPal account below this video on YouTube and also on my website. And please hit the like and subscribe button and notification button. That way you get notified every time I publish a new video. Other than that, thank you for your time and have a good day.